Hello everyone. So this is like my first video on this channel. So I apologize in advance if in any part of the video it seems a bit unprofessional. I mean, it's normal because I'm not a very professional person in real life. But anyway, I just wanted to make a short video, kind of like a short tutorial on how to bury objects in Blender. Specifically in mud or in dirt, but I think this process applies for more or less anything that's related to burying things, whether it be in liquid or in water or whatever. And the reason why is because we're gonna do a liquid sim, and this liquid sim is gonna be simulating mud covering the object, and the object in question is a pot, because I was doing a little personal project where I needed to bury a pot, an old pot in dirt, like and so I was like researching different ways on how to do it, because I had a few ideas. One of them was the easiest and the most simplest, which is to just sculpt it, duplicate the ground and then grab it and sculpt it and whatever. But I didn't start it yet because I knew that it would take too long. But I'm always open to finding more efficient solutions, and so I spent a few hours researching different ways on how to do it, and quite surprisingly, it's not very popular. I guess not a lot of people share this sort of problem. So, but anyway, so my solution is to basically, in a few steps, do a liquid sim, and then simulate mud basically covering my pot, and then once that's done I just apply it. So I have a mesh, and then I go in with the sculpting tools to sculpt the shape and add more details if necessary. So yeah, after that's all done, I basically do a particle system, and I added these smaller pieces of dirt, like balls of dirt, around the edges of the sim to break up the shape or add details. Or so yeah, anyway, we're gonna look at all of that in detail afterwards. So yeah, that's all. That's more or less the simplified workflow. Anyway, time to go off script. So yeah, so this is the scene that I have to run the simulation, and as you can see, it's quite simple. It's just a pot that I have, and a few balls. So I'm gonna hide this real quick just to show. I'm gonna hide the liquid domain, and it's quite a simple setup. It's literally just the ground that I cut in a square. Basically, I cut it and then I just extruded it and filled it up so that the liquid can be simulated better, because I just had a hunch, to be honest. I never tested it, but I just know that if I'm very sure it's gonna be okay. But that's also another reason why I added thickness to the ground, which is when you run a sim in Blender, everything is grayed out, and that's normal because I have it set to baking. So I baked everything, so I can't change anything. Anyway, so I have this enabled, delete an obstacle. And so I believe that if you have a plane, this won't function, because how this works is that when your liquid, sorry, weird to say, when your liquid is thick and passes through an object, it will automatically delete what's like inside. And if you have a plane, then Blender won't know when it begins and when it ends, because it's just a plane. It's there's no thickness to it, and that's the reason why I added thickness, as basically so that function, that thing would function. So yeah, anyway, let's go through real quick my setup. So the most important thing to me, so I'm just gonna show real quick what my sim looks like. I'm just gonna unhide the liquid domain so we can see the sim. So this is what it looks like. Very simple. It looks like dough. So yeah, very viscous, and it just falls down. Hello, future me here. So for anyone who's watching this and want to replicate the result of of the sim, make sure that it's in API-C and not in Flip. The result is very similar. It's just that with API-C it looks a lot more thick, and that's basically what we want because we want to make mud. And these are the options in case anyone wants to copy them. So it's all set to, so there we go, resolution 80, deleting obstacles, and for my liquid parameters it's nothing special. I bumped the sampling from, I think 2 is my default to 5, and particle radius I reduced it so it looks a bit thin. And in diffusion, this is the most important part. These are the settings, and for the HVC, the high viscosity solver, is to make it thick. Set to that value, and of course the mesh. And I increased the upper-res factor. I honestly don't know what it does. I mean, I know what it does, but I don't see any difference. But I increased it because why not? And I also reduced the size of the particle. Make sure not to go too low or it's gonna explode. The same with the particle radius. If you go too low, it's gonna explode. That's all. Super simple. And I have more or less 200 frames to go through. After that, it's nothing. And so basically this allows me to like pick a frame that I like. So, you know, I can pick anything. If I want it to look like crap, I can pick it here. Or if I want it to look more like mud, then I can pick this part here. But what I wanted to show the most is actually a little trick that I did to add more details to the sim itself, and that is using a small scale displacement. When I say small scale, I'm talking about the size of the what's it called, displacement? No, the noise. So basically I have a group and I basically paint it, and this basically serves as an extra layer of detail so that when the sim falls down, it's gonna be affected by the noise that I inputted, and I can control how much I want, but not, I can't use this because it's gonna look like it's falling, it's gonna look bad. So yeah, it's something that I use to customize the look of my sim. I can also add like a displacement after, which I did. Not in this scene, but in my final scene. Here I just have a smooth, and I'm gonna talk about that a bit later. And I'm just gonna show real quick how my displacement setup works. So I have a vertex group, and this basically, I don't know why I have two. Oh yeah, I have two because I have a particle system. So I'm gonna show that after. And this basically, in Vertex Paint, allows me to control where I want the displacement to be. Let me see if I can hide the paint so we can see it better. I don't think we can, or maybe no, we can't. Or maybe we can, but I just don't know how. Doesn't matter. Anyway, we can see it a bit. And this allows me to control. So I'm just gonna paint something here, and then I can go back here and just. Oh, it doesn't work. How come? That's strange. Oh yeah, my bad. I was using the Vertex Paint. Okay. So that was on me. Because in this project I use the Vertex Paint a lot. So yeah, weight paint. My bad. Yeah, here we go. So I just paint it, and ta-da! Now it's being displaced. So this is very neat because I can control how, I can have like a gradient and stuff, so it can fall off on the edges. But yeah, so this is my setup, and with that it allows me to control where the level of detail would be. So like for example here, since the camera angle based on the camera angle, we're gonna see this part more. So this is red, you know, to show that this part would be more affected by the displace. And I could obviously, you know, like control everything by, I can also smooth, add more fall off and stuff. Anyway, you get the idea. So yeah, and then afterwards I just run the sim, and once all that's done, I have a smooth, which allows me to just, well, like, you know, smoothen up the object. Obviously I can also go in sculpt and, you know, smooth it myself, but the reason why I'm doing this is because number one, it's faster, and I can control, and it's not gonna break your, if you smooth too much, you have to do Control Z, but and then if you run out of Control Z, then you're dead. So I have this thing just to allow me to smooth everything in bulk, and I do use the sculpt after, but this is like the first step in retouching it. And then well, in this I don't have it, but in my other scene, let's continue, and then we're gonna jump to the other scene to check my final adjustments. And the particles, so I also have a particle system with these gigantic balls of dirt, and that allows me to add a second degree of level of detail. There you go. And this basically imitates dirt being broken up on the edges, because if we look at a reference that I took next to my house, I have one reference. I recommend having multiple references so you could like look at everything, because like the most important part about references is not copying, but actually the understanding. So the more you have, the more knowledge you could, you know, the more understanding you could do, and the more precise your result is gonna be, because you understand how everything works. But since this thing is right next to my house, if I need to understand stuff more, I just get out and look at it. But I recommend having a lot of references, whether it be online or in person. In person is always better, because you could take pictures from different angles, and online you're limited to what you find. But anyway, yeah, so if we look, we can see that actually we have two levels of details. We have parts where, I'm just gonna draw real quick. Okay, so if we take a look, we can see, let me pick a nice color. There you go. Beautiful, beautiful yellow. Actually, I'm gonna go red. So, yeah, here we go. So, using my mouse is not gonna be precise, but it's okay. Okay, so, right. So this part, or how I see it, is one giant like chunk, you know, like that, and then surrounding it, we have these smaller. Let me pick a different. Let's go with purple. And surrounding them, this chunk, or at least, are these like separate balls of dirt, you know, smaller ones, bigger sized ones, we have smaller ones again. And the same applies, you know, like it's everywhere. If you take a look at it here, this is the same principle. Like, we could summarize this as one giant chunk, like that. It can end wherever we want it to end, you know, it can end here. And then surrounding it is, you know, a smaller piece. And it can even be inside. It depends on how you see it, you know. And we can interpret this as a smaller chunk, you know, or even a bigger one with smaller chunks inside, you know. So it really depends on how you see it, and it's very important, for me at least, to understand this so that I could properly do it in 3D. So yeah, it's very important to understand how this works, because that way you could make something that's as lifelike as possible. Because like, we're not, for me at least, how I see it is that I'm not trying to copy real life, but more like inspire myself from real life, you know. So yeah, so with this, again, it's just a weight paint, not the liquid sim, but the ground. It's just a weight paint. I basically copied the vertex group that I had so that I don't have to repeat where I already painted, and I didn't name it, typical me. It's called dirt copy, but name it something else like dirt scatter or something. And so yeah, typical particle system setup, you know. I have the right amount of not number, but like number of balls, rotation, scale, random scale and stuff. And there's nothing much to see here, to be honest. It's the most important thing is that in vertex group. I don't know what. Yeah, okay, here we go. In vertex group, it's very important that you have length set to the same group that you use to paint, so that it actually reduces in size as it approaches, you know, the edge. And that's what makes this work the most. Because if you think about it, if you break an object, if you throw a... Okay, let's not get into physics because I'm not very good. It's my understanding of how things work, and that's I'm not a physics guy. I understand how things work, but I don't know how to explain it with proper physics term. But anyway, so yeah, I recommend turning on wireframe mode so you could see, because like here, for example, I painted inside and we don't really want that because we don't see it. So make it concentrated on the outside. You can do whatever you want, but this is how I do it. And in some parts, for example here, and here too, you know, this part here, like this part and this part, I'm gonna select my liquid sim, go into sculpt. Actually I can't because it's still a sim. So this is where we have to kind of decide when it's the right frame so that we could go in and sculpt, because this is where we're going to add details, more or less. And I'm just gonna stop here, I mean, because I'm gonna redo this, so it's okay. So I'm just gonna copy and I'm gonna hide the sim, like the actual sim, and I'm gonna do right click and go to convert. There's a thing called convert to and convert to mesh. So now this is a mesh, and now I'm just gonna go to sculpt, and with the grab tool I can just pull things down a bit, you know, and I do this around the edges so that it's thinner on the edges and it shows more of these chunks so that it looks like the dirt pile is crumbling. And there we go. Doesn't have to be precise, but just need the idea down. And this part here, I'm just gonna pull it down, just like that. Same here, because I find it to be too thick. Here too, I guess. I'm just gonna pull it down. What we can also do, instead of just grabbing stuff, is to just take the crease, one of these, you know, like even the draw works. Just draw on it, hold control so that it inverts the brush, you can smooth it, whatever you want, you know, because again, control Z exist, so sorry, control Z exists. So yeah, and once that's done, the reason why I pulled it down is so that I could go back with the weight paint and just add the smaller dirt chunks in, not smaller dirt chunks, but these dirt balls in. And so here, I'm just gonna do the same, just gonna do it even more. There we go, just like that. You know, it doesn't have to be very precise, like again, like the more noise you have, the better, because it's supposed to be noisy. Talk about that, we can also add a displace, but be careful because, yeah, it's gonna look like this, and that's normal. But even so, even if we adjust the clouds, it's still gonna look a bit wrong. And the reason why, here's okay, but the reason, oh, I accidentally applied the smooth. Let me show you what it looks like without the smooth modifier. So without the smooth modifier, it's gonna look like that. well, I'm gonna lower, you're gonna see. It's gonna look like this. There's gonna be black spots everywhere, and I don't know why, but I find that when you have a smooth modifier, like it doesn't have to be very high, like even, sorry, I meant the repeat, even if it repeats once, as long as it's at full intensity, it's gonna fix it. And I think it's caused by, oops, oh yeah, I've got it's a liquid domain. Let's check this one that I have. Sorry, it's a mess. If we check the topology, I think it's due to these sorts of like n-gons that are quite a bit, you know, everywhere. But the smooth modifier helps. But if it doesn't look like shit, sorry, then it's okay, you know. But anyway, I'm not gonna do that because this is just to demonstrate my workflow. And more or less that's it. Without going to, you know, a lot of details, this is more or less the workflow. And for the UVs, how I do it is quite easy. There's nothing much. I'm just gonna go to UV. So I have a material. I just downloaded it from Polyheaven, and obviously the UV is all. It's not, you know, it's not done because it's a sim. And talk about the texture, the material. Basically, I have these dirt balls that takes the same texture as the ground. I will change it in the future because visibly I can see that it repeats, and I just think that it's better if I find a more appropriate texture, because like I find that the texture works very well for the mud that's covering the pot, but for these dirt balls it doesn't work that well because of the fact that there's small rocks in it, and these balls are already small and just doesn't look right, you know. That's a problem with the scale. Anyway, let me show you how I did the UVs. So it's incredibly simple. Just click U, and then I just do a smart UV project. And if I do it with the default settings, it's gonna look like this. So it's not that bad, obviously, and it works, as you can see. But what doesn't work is the fact that the smaller bits are basically everywhere. And to control that, all you have to do is, when you do a smart UV project, in the angle limit, make sure to increase this. I increased it to the max, like as high as I can go, and it's 90, even though it's set 89, and you can't go higher. Even if you put 120 or higher than 90, it will snap to 90. And I just click unwrap, and there you go. Now you have bigger chunks and less smaller bits, and this is quite good because again, you don't want it to be as perfect as possible because it's a piece of dirt. And now I'm kidding. Once that's done, I select everything. So just do A, and I go to UV, and I pack island, and I just do pack so that it optimizes the UV space. And now these bigger chunks, they occupy a bigger space. And once that's done, more or less that's it. But in this scene, because it's not the final scene, I don't have it properly set up. But oh, okay, I do have it. Okay, so this is my material. This is my final quote unquote air quotes material, and as you can see, it's quite believable, air quotes. It's quite believable, especially from a distance. And so yeah, I was just lucky with this choice of material, because I was looking for something with a lot of rocks and dirts and these like smaller details. And I know that if we take a very close look, we can see that in some parts the UV is, but I actually find it to be not to be as much of a nuisance. I'm trying to find it, but I can't even find it. Like for example here, you know, we can see that there's a cut, and here too, you know, and same here. But from a distance, well, you can't even see it here. But that's also the point, is that you can't see it, so it's okay to to a certain point, even though if this is a close-up shot. But even if you see it, it kind of adds to the noisiness. Like for example, it kind of adds to it tricks our brain into thinking that there's more details, even though it's obviously it's just a badly unwrapped UV. Like look at this. So yeah, let me unhide everything. It's gonna explode. Okay, so I'm just gonna go back and quickly unhide stuff. So that's my workflow. It's nothing crazy. This is what I have for now, using the exact same workflow that I showed. And oh yeah, there's something I didn't show, which is if I hide everything and leave only the ground, you can see that I have painted, I basically followed the silhouette of the mud that's covering my pot. And yeah, no, look at the pot, it's not finished yet. And this allows me to basically have a cleaner transition between the mud and the ground and the dirt balls. So if you look, like, it helps fake it even more. This obviously is too big, so like the tiling is too big, so I'm gonna tile it some more. But I can, for example, I didn't even name it, just yeah, but yeah, something like this, and I can paint it and stuff, so it just adds an extra layer of brain don't say that, add a bigger layer of like detail. So yeah, and I can paint it and stuff. So if you have a fast PC like mine, which I'm very lucky to have one, I can do it in real time, air quotes, real time, and I can paint it and stuff in render mode, and I can control how far my dirt ends, and I can also smooth it using shift. So I can paint it and smooth so that the edges are more smooth. It's very simple, like there's no setup even. It's a very simple setup. I'm just gonna delete this part, I don't know why it's here. It's a very simple setup. I didn't do any like normal layering or whatever. It's literally like two different shaders alongside a mask that is controlled by my painting, by the vertex paint, and some noise that has a lot of stretching, and I just added this noise to the mask to break up the edges a bit, but it doesn't even work that well. But yeah, hello again. So I'm just gonna correct myself real quick. Reason why we couldn't see the noise in the video is because the transition from it's not smooth, and it's also due to the fact that I have color burn, and for now it works, but I'm very sure there's a better way to combine the noise and the paint and the mask. But for now it's set to color burn, and so when your edge is too sharp, like here, it doesn't mix well. But when you have a smoother edge, you can actually see it work quite well. So what I recommend doing is to just paint inside the silhouette a bit and then to smooth it out, so that as it smooths out, it mixes with the noise and it just breaks it up a bit. So yeah, just wanted to not confirm, but to verify that real quick that it works. So yeah, and I can control the noise and stuff. So, but anyway, so yeah, that's it. So I'm just gonna jump into the final scene. I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna jump into the final scene real quick, and then we're gonna see what I did that I didn't do here. So I did it a few days ago, so I might have missed something. So yeah, so this is the final scene. I'm just gonna turn on the render mode, which is in Workbench, and as you can see, I varied the placement of the dirt balls they're not only surrounding the edges anymore, they're more or less scattered everywhere, even in places that don't have the sim. So yeah, so it really depends on what you're trying to achieve. For me, I'm trying to achieve something that looks like it's crumbling, and having these dirt balls really help. And in places that don't have the sim, even though I don't have the sim here, I still added it. And I'm just gonna switch to cycles real quick to show what it looks like. And even if the sim doesn't extend to this corner, it still helps fake the idea that that is crumbling, that it's like from, you know, that from here to like from, I can't even draw. There you go, like from here to like here, you know, we like the brain thinks that, yeah, this thing fell or whatever and it crumbled, and these like balls of dirt, they, you know, move this way. So yeah, it helps trick the brain, and it's just like, you know, but without like going to into these like brain manipulation techniques. It's just details, just adding details, you know. Having stuff here helps because it just adds more details. The same with here, and I find that adding the dirt balls like inside like this helps add more level of detail, because like if you take a look at it from a distance, the material of the mud is quite, I guess, medium frequency in terms of like details, and these smaller balls, they help add a smaller frequency, and it just helps a lot with you know, it helps with digesting the image, I guess. So yeah, there's not much to say about why I so like I said, I have a smooth, and like I said, it's just factor 1 and repeat 1, and this helps eliminate these dark spots if I unhide it. Yeah, I mean, if I undo the modifier, the smooth modifier, yeah, that's these like black spots, and so having them helps with, you know, getting rid of it. I can also go in, if you don't want to use the smooth, you can also go in and manually with the sculpt tools, just go in and manually smooth, but don't use the smooth tool. Use the, I forgot what it's called, relax. I think it's this one, relax slide. And it, you know, instead of like smoothing your model and changing the shape, it will just smooth, it will relax the vertices. So I'm gonna show you the difference here. If I was, this is the relax slide. Oh yeah, sorry. When that happens, I forgot. When you have a displace, do not smooth your model. It will just everything up. Yeah, so there you go. If I have it on, look. Yeah. Disable your displace before you do this. So use the relax, and as you can stop doing that. Oh my god. Yeah. And if I use the smooth the smooth brush, it's gonna change the shape. I have to stop doing the displace. Yeah. If I do it, yeah, it's gonna change the shape, and as you can see, everything is all smooth. But if I use the relax slide, it's still gonna keep the level of the detail that's on the mesh, but it just smooths, relaxes, you know, the vertice, and it's very useful. So yeah, you can also do smooth, which smooths everything. It's not a vertex relax, but it smooths everything, which is still useful. And so yeah, that's it. I forgot to record an outro, because I don't really do videos, but I hope that was helpful and especially informative. I tried to keep it short, but you know, it's like 30 minutes, so hopefully it's not too boring to go through. I tried to show as many steps as possible, so I hope that it was useful to someone, or to anyone who saw this. If you wanna check out what I did, I will leave a link below. I have like an art station. I'm also on LinkedIn if anyone's interested. If not, thanks for watching, and I hope that I will make more videos in the future because I quite like sharing things. And yeah, share this to someone who is in need of this, or if you just want to share it to yourself, then you can make an extra account and send it to yourself so you don't forget it. Or you can also like and subscribe. It's so weird to say that because I'm so used to hearing it. Anyway, goodbye. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.